Today we play golf.
Let me show you how we do it in the pros.
Welcome to Behind the Golf Brand Podcast.
I never miss with the 7-iron.
A conversation with some of the most interesting innovators and entrepreneurs behind the biggest names in golf.
My friends with the golf clubs. I lived on the golf course. I lived on the driving range.
From pro talk
You should learn something from each and every single round you play in.
to fun from on and off the green.
Why would you play golf if you don't play it for money?
Just let me put the ball in the hole.
This is Behind the Golf Brand Podcast with Paul Liberatore.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Behind the Golf Brand Podcast. This week, I have a really good friend of mine. I've probably been friends for about 4 years. My good friend, Briston Peterson from OnPoint Golf Ball Markers. OnPoint's a really sick brand, really innovative. Briston's a really smart guy, and he designed it all himself, and they're blowing up for the last couple of years. So I thought I had him on the show. So welcome to the show, Briston.
Hey, Paul. How you doing?
Good. All right, so where are you located?
OnPoint is located in Basalt, Colorado, just about 20 minutes outside of Aspen, Colorado.
Now, how long have you been playing golf?
I've been playing golf since high school, literally. But my sport growing up was soccer. I played team sports growing up, and I sort of stumbled into golf through my Uncle Billy Corba, who was a top amateur golfer out of Binghamton, New York. He's the one who introduced me to golf.
So are you a golf pro?
No, I'm a professional home builder.
So what's your handicap though?
Far from a professional golfer. Right now, I'm at my low has been a 4.2 index, but right now I'm a 7.1 index. Courses are just starting to open up here in Colorado. That's where I'm based out of, and that's where my primary residence is. So literally courses are just starting to open. So hopefully by the season I'll get back to a 4.2. But
that's still really low. I would love to be a 4.2. I mean, dang, you must have a really good short game.
Well, our course is pretty easy. So my index does not my index.
Yeah, it's based on like 9 holes, like an executive course.
Well, it's the ball flies a lot farther at 8,500 feet in elevation, right?
That's true. True.
So when I go down to the desert, it's a
you drive it to the green. You like driving like 400 yards and stuff like that, and then you come down. And then you come to Arizona and you're like 200, like me.
No, our course is pretty wide open, so it's not. You can spray it around a little bit, but it's a good track. It's a Nicklaus signature track. It's called Aspen Glen up here in Carbondale, Colorado, and it's a good golf course. I'm just kidding. So I hover right around a 7 index.
That's awesome. I'm gonna pass you someday. Someday that's my goal.
You want to put money
Hell
on
no,
that?
man. No.
Let's. I'll bet you an on-point golf marker.
All right, I got some too. I got some. What are you? No, Briston and I have known each other for a long time, so you guys can tell like we're buddies. So how'd you get into golf? Like, did your uncle get you into golf, or you just like stumbled on it, or what happened?
Yeah. So as I said, I played team sports growing up, and my uncle was a top golfer out of Binghamton, New York, and there used to be a tour stop called the Endicott Open up in Binghamton. And when I was in middle school, I used to go up and stay at my uncle's house during the event, and he used to have the likes of Lee Trevino, Frank Connor, Gary McCord staying at his house. And I used to sit around the kitchen table and talk to these guys and go watch them sort of inside the ropes in Binghamton, New York. And that's how I got addicted to the game, because it is an addiction, as you know. I mean, once you start, it's tough to give up. It's when you play team sports your entire life, and you go out and play golf, and it's basically you against the course and you against yourself. It's quite a challenge, and it's the beauty of the game.
So then, did you grow up in New York, or where'd you grow up at?
No, I was born outside of Seattle in Washington State, and moved to the East Coast when I was like 6-7 years old, and I grew up in right between Baltimore and Washington in Maryland. So I grew up in Maryland, but now currently live in Colorado and Arizona.
You grew up in, where'd you say? Maryland?
Maryland. Yep, just
Maryland,
outside
okay.
of Baltimore. Yep.
So you grew up in Maryland, and then did you go to did you go to college? Did you what did you get your degree in?
Yeah. I played soccer at a pretty high level. I played in a area called Columbia, Maryland, which was a hotbed of soccer, and I ended up going to Rutgers College in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and played Division
I didn't
I
know
soccer.
that.
Yeah.
Yep. You played Division I soccer? Holy crap!
Yep. In the day, I used to have skills, Paulie.
That's impressive. I never knew that about you. See, I learn something every time I have a podcast with my friends.
Yeah.
All right. So then, what did you get your degree in then?
So
Beer,
Rutgers
and
College
chicks.
is a liberal arts school, and
Uh-huh.
I actually wrote my own thesis there. They have a program called the Henry Rutgers thesis, and I wrote my own thesis in college, and graduated in 1987. That was probably the year you were born.
No, bro. I was born I was like 10 years old.
Well, close to it.
You see this stuff? This is getting.
Yeah, you could be my son, and you don't even know it.
Yeah, right. You'd be like, you have like 15.
Right. Exactly. You never know, man. You never know. Yeah.
So you graduated from Rutgers, and then what made you move to how'd you get to Colorado? What year was that?
For work. I used to save up my pennies and come out here and go skiing and in Aspen, Colorado, and I started looking around, and I said,
Really?
would you rather work in Baltimore, Maryland, or would you rather work in Aspen, Colorado? And moved out here about 35 years ago, and it was a great move. Love the East Coast, but you can't beat Colorado.
So, what made you to get into construction? Was that your plan, or you moved to Aspen? You're like, hey, I want to be into construction. Were you into real estate?
No,
How did that all happen out?
I grew up in the business. My father was a builder developer, and so very direct path in my life on how I got into the construction and development industry. So
was your dad a builder developer in Maryland?
He was in the Baltimore, Washington area. Yep. He when we moved from Washington State, he took a job for a company that ultimately became the Rouse Company, and then at a point in time, he ran Ryland Homes, which is a publicly traded home building business.
I've heard of them.
Yep. And then he started his own business, and when your old man owns the business, you sort of get infused with the drug, and so I've been in construction my entire life, and that's all I know.
Well, that and golf and soccer.
Well, I don't know much, Paul.
Yeah, right. This guy's fooling you. Just wait. So, all right. So then you moved to Colorado, and then how did you start your business in construction? What made you decide I'm going to build house? I know you said the weather and all that, but I mean, that's kind of a really good time to move to Colorado because Aspen's this beautiful place. But was it as built up then as it is now? Or was it still a hidden gem that people were starting to move to, and you saw an opportunity there?
Yeah, no, as I said, I used to come out here and vacation.
Yeah.
And every place I go, I'd always pick up the local paper or the local real estate section and read it. And I just saw trends that were occurring in this area, and basically said, I looked around and I looked at just the quality of life and the quality of living out here, and just recognized some trends, and basically said, this is a place that I want to move out to, make some roots, and start a business. And I did that I started my business in 1997. It's been very good. So we're in the construction and development business. We build high-end custom homes for the 1% of the 1%.
So it's a very niche market, and and it's probably based a lot on reputation and design and comfort, because I would assume that these buyers have very high standards and they all know each other, right? So it's like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't mess around.
When you say buyers, I call it a glorified beauty contest. When we're introduced to a project, the client typically interviews, 2 or 3 general contractors and selects the right partnership that they're looking for. And so we partner with our customers, specialize in high-end construction and high-end home building. So we don't do too many speculative projects. We work for end users.
That's cool. So at any one time, like, how many houses do you have going on?
We're a medium-sized company. When I say medium-size, we carry a large footprint in our market, but we typically have anywhere from 8 to 12 projects going on at any given time is the size company we are.
I couldn't imagine what these houses look like, or even just the views that these have and the
Yeah.
extravagance. I've seen like real estate listings for houses before, like in that area, and like, for the ultra wealthy, and you're like, holy crap, like, I don't know, their bathroom like has a huge window that goes out to like the mountains and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah, we do
my
a lot
bathroom
of
has a
fun.
view of the shower.
Yeah. No, we do a lot of fun things. So it's a pleasure, working on challenging projects and building dreams. That's what we do. So it's a fun
So
process.
when did you have the idea for OnPoint?
Yeah, so a number of years ago, actually, when I met you, a buddy of mine and myself, his name's James Verna, his nickname is Ribs. Basically, we wear prescription glasses when we play golf, sunglasses, and figured out there has to be a better way to mark your golf ball. And, how you're supposed to look at a flat coin or a flat poker chip. That's a two-dimensional object, basically designed, trademarked, and patented the OnPoint golf ball marker, which is a three-dimensional ball marker that has an XYZ axis, and it simulates a ball. It's dome-shaped, and it has a removable coin, a 28 millimeter removable coin on the bottom of it. So it started with an idea, and it's grown into a company and grown into a business. And that all started a number of years ago, actually, when I first met you.
When you guys started it, when you came to market like 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah. I mean, we're sort of dabbling around, and all of a sudden, this idea became a real business and became a niche in the market. Because I like to say that we own the space. We own the three-dimensional space between the putter head and the golf ball, and it's something that nobody in the game of golf has ever addressed. There's a lot of different ball markers and
Yeah, they're all
customization.
flat.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff, but it's literally, when you look at the alignment technology that's put on a golf ball, or the alignment technology that's put on a putter head, we've literally designed and patented just about every alignment technology you can imagine. But we have a patent on the dome-shaped marker with the removable coin. And the beauty about our product is, a couple years ago, I sent it to the USGA in New Jersey, and that's where they tested the product, and it was a game changer when the product came back that said approved for use according to the rules of golf as defined by the USGA and RNA. So that was a big game changer for the business, where it complies with the rules of golf. Because technically, if I was playing a match with you, I could walk up with a pizza tray and mark my ball on the green with a pizza tray. And if I was playing a match with you, Paula, you would look at me and say, "Hey, Briston, that pizza tray bothers
Some pizza.
me." Yeah. I'd say, there's a little more pizza in the box, right, on those long putts. But if you say, "Hey, that pizza tray is bothering me," that's when you have to drop a coin-like object. And that's why we have the removable coin. So there's a lot of different ways to use the product, but it's a game changer where it helps increase the pace of play if used properly. Number one. Number two, it creates a term in sports that's called marginal gain. So if I'm using an OnPoint marker and you're using a flat poker chip or a coin, I just create a marginal gain over you. through a process called spatial acuity, meaning that the more I engage with a three-dimensional object and you engage with a two-dimensional object, and I'm more confident with my intended putting line, I just created more marginal gain over you. And the entire golf industry is built on that term, marginal gain, right? Probably like any other sport I've ever seen. And putting is about line and pace. And if you're more confident with your intended line, you're going to be more confident in your putting stroke. And if I can eliminate, a three putt or make a long birdie putt, or, fundamentally take one or two strokes off my score by using the OnPoint marker, I just created marginal gain over you. And it's an advantage, and it complies with the rules of golf.
Well, especially too, like by you complying with the rules of golf, then it can be used on tour, right? And not anybody having to bitch about it.
Yep, it is used on tour. It's used on the Corn Ferry Tour. It's used on Champions Tour. A couple guys have used it on the PGA Tour, but our main brand ambassador is Jim Furyk. I'm sure it's a name you've heard before. He's a 7-time, I think he's won 17 times on the PGA Tour. I think he's won a U.S. Open. He's been Ryder Cup captain, and he just got named as the captain for the Champions Tour event, the European event that's coming up in play. But Jim Furyk is our brand ambassador for the product.
Yeah, so tell that story how Jim, this is a cool story, you guys. Tell that story about how Jim found your product.
Yeah, so when I was building some prototypes, Ribs and I were coming up with some ideas and continued to refine the ideas. I sent a couple down to a good friend of mine in high school. His name's Ray Benjamino, and he's actually director of our national sales for OnPoint. I went to high school with Ray, and Ray and I used to hack it around in high school together playing golf, and we still play golf together. But Jim Furyk puts on an event called the Jack Leg at the end of every season. And somehow Ray got invited to this event and still is on this event, where Jim invites 24 of his best friends, and, they play golf for a long weekend. And anyways, Ray was paired up with Jim at the Jack Leg a couple years ago, and Ray had
like, what are the odds of that, right? Like right there. That's
right.
Crazy.
Right. And Ray had some prototypes that he was playing with, and unbeknownst to me, and I'm sort of unbeknownst to where this was going, Jim goes up to Ray and says, "Hey man, what are those things?" And Ray explains them. And Jim goes, "Hey man, do you mind if I have a couple?" And Ray didn't think anything of it, and nor did I know about it. Jim goes out and uses the product. Where Jim really broke the product out, and where I saw it on TV, was when he finished second to Rory McIlroy at the Players Championship down at Ponte Vedra at the Players. I don't know if you remember that, where Jim and Rory were making a late charge at each other, and Jim finished second, and Jim was using the OnPoint marker for all of his long putts. The idea is that he transferred the knowledge from what he was gaining off of marking his ball on his long putts and just transferred that knowledge to the ball. And I think the average stroke at that time, I want to say, was like $68,000 on what a stroke means. It's probably worth a hell of a lot more today, but I'd be curious to see what that stat is on the PGA Tour. But anyways, Jim ended up using the product. I ended up getting a call from Andrew Whitlib, who is Jim Furyk's agent. He's been his agent since day one. Andrew runs a company called GSE Worldwide, which is one of the largest sports marketing companies in the world. Andrew calls me up and says, "Hey, this is Andrew, and I'm Jim Furyk's agent." And, I about dropped the phone. I'm like, "Okay, how can I help you?"
You want to build a house?
Yeah, I thought we were building a house, but next thing you know, we're talking about
You're like quoting them. Well, we could do this drywall here. And you're like, no, bro.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's how it all started. And so Jim's our brand ambassador, and his face is well known in the game of golf, brings immediate credibility to the product. He's very, very well respected. on tour, the Champions Tour, and he's, respected all around the world for his accolades. And he's a true gentleman and a true professional. And I can't think of a better brand ambassador for our product.
So when did all that happen? Like right away? Like before it launched? Was Jim already
Yeah,
kind of
no,
like
that
on
happened right
board?
around when the Players was. So I got my years.
17, 16,
Yeah,
17,
I'd
18,
have to
somewhere in
look
there.
it up. I can't remember what I did yesterday, Paulie. So
That's all right.
uh,
You're getting up there in years.
right.
Where have you gone, I guess, with the OnPoint? Like, tell me about. So you guys come up with OnPoint. Jim becomes an ambassador. You build a website, and then for the entrepreneurs out there, like how does one or what? How did you like move the needle? You know what I mean? Like how did you get it out there so people see it and use it and
Yeah, so how the product has evolved. First of all, we've refined the product. Our number one seller is the 3-rail. I don't know if you remember. I think it was the same trip that you and I went to the PGA show in Orlando. And if you go to
before COVID.
Yep, if you go to
It was like 2 months before COVID.
Yeah, if you go to our Instagram account at onpointgolf.us, what you'll see is the building of a business, right? And you'll see a post in there that I posted, and I don't know how to use Instagram. I still run it today, but this was the time when Callaway released the triple track, and we released the 3-rail. And there's a picture that I took literally on the carpet of the PGA show. And I wrote in the post, "Great minds think alike," because Callaway gave me a little 2-pack of the triple track. And I said, can't remember the guy I was talking to at the time. I said, "Oh, really?" And I pulled out of my pocket a 3-rail OnPoint marker. It didn't have the exact same color scheme. It had 3 red rails at the time. The guy looked at me like I was from outer space. He's like,
Really?
where the hell did you come up with that? And that show, I had a meeting with the muckety mucks at Callaway and Sean Toulon, who does their putterhead designs and things like that. And I'm just a dumb contractor going to a PGA show. And so anyways, we start coming out with a handful of brands. We start spreading the company word of mouth because, golf is a very, what's the word for it? But it's a business that, when you stand on the first tee and I stand on the first tee and I say, I look at you and you got new shoes on, or you got a new grip or a new putter or whatever the hell you got. I look at you and say, "Hey, Paulie, where'd you get that? What is that?" Right? So, and I've seen this in work where I've gone out and have strategic brand ambassadors scattered around the country using the OnPoint marker, and we're now reaching a mass where the customers are actually selling the product.
Which was always your plan, wasn't it? Like I remember you like
Yeah.
you want it out there. You want people to see it, and they're like, "Wait, what's that?" And I think that's really important for people to hear that. Like this was, the strategy here was to get it out there because it would sell itself once it got out there in masses. People are like, "Oh, what's that? What's that?" Because it's a new product that no one's ever seen, right? And so it's like,
That's right. That's right. So I
really
get,
smart.
yeah, I get it in the hands of strategic stakeholders. First of all, you got to believe in the product to use it. Number one, right? And so I have some people in Florida. I got some top caddies down at Streamsong using the product. I got Nick Bradley, who's one of the top teachers in North Carolina, using the product. I got some guys, down in Arizona using the product. I got Jim Furyk using the product. I got some guys in California, guys in New York, some women as well on the LPGA tour. And so just the idea is get the product in the hands of the users, right? And once people understand how to use the product and how to implement it into their putting routine, they'll find that it's a game changer. For example, I got a guy by the name of Doug Rohrball, his license plate says one putt. I mean, and he's one of the best putters in Colorado. His name's Doug Rohrball, and he's a top senior player in Colorado, and he will not tee it up without an on-point marker. So the goal is, all right, I'm going to the golf course. I got my golf clubs, check. I got my shoes, check. I got my, I got my hat, my visor, check. I got my glove if I wear a glove, check. Oh, do I have my on-point marker? Shit, I can't putt without my on-point marker. So I'm really trying to change the way people think about marking their golf ball. And, this is an industry that's over 100 years old, as we know, and nobody's really focused on the space
Ever.
And so it's a
Not
totally
until the last
different.
couple of years. I mean, really.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a game
you
changer.
draw lines on your ball and whatever, but
Yeah. So it's just transferring the knowledge that you take from your marker to your ball. And if used properly, it will help increase the pace of play on greens, especially with us amateurs, so you don't necessarily need to be a line putter to use it, Paulie. So like when I hit my ball on the green, what I do is the first thing I do is I walk up, I look around, I say, all right, is my mark going to interfere with the play of others? Because there's a provision under the rules of golf called etiquette. And if your mark is not going to interfere with the play of others, like I said, you could put a pizza tray down, but if you find it objectionable, that's when you have to use a coin-like object. So the first thing I do is look around and make sure that my mark will not interfere with the play of others. And if I'm confident it doesn't, then I mark my ball with my intended putting line on the on-point marker. So you don't necessarily need to be a line marker on your golf ball. So now usually my first read is a left to right putt, straight putt, right to left putt. Usually your first read is your most accurate read. And that's very true with us amateurs. So now I've picked an intended line. So I have a point of reference, right? So now I have a point of reference so that while I'm waiting my turn, cleaning my golf ball, instead of watching birds fly overhead or looking around, I'm now forcing myself to engage with my intended putting line. And all while waiting my turn, I use that initial point of reference. And it's a three-dimensional object versus a two-dimensional object. So there's a lot of medical studies on how your brain processes a three-dimensional object versus a two-dimensional object through a process called spatial acuity, right? And if I am more confident with my intended line, now all I do is I put my ball in play with my intended line, and I transfer that knowledge from the on-point marker to the golf ball. And now I just have to do is focus on executing my pace, because now I already have confidence in my line. I just have to have more confidence and execute my pace properly. So that's pretty much how the product works. If you go to our website, onpointgolf.us, you'll see a tutorial video, actually a video by Jim Furyk, and you'll see an animation video that we produced with Jim Furyk. And then if you go to our Instagram account at onpointgolf.us, you can see some tutorial videos that Nick Bradley has put up on Instagram. And we have a whole host of videos that we still got to release on there just to explain to the market on how properly use the product. But once you understand the product, it's a game changer. So we're revolutionizing the way people thinking about marking their golf ball on the green. And you have the ability to customize the coin, the 28 millimeter coin. And we've done a lot of customization with the coin, a lot of top clubs.
Yeah, you got a lot. Like, I mean, you do. If you guys are on Instagram, Club Pro guy has done a lot with you guys.
Yep,
CPG.
Cool. We've had a relationship with CPG for a number of years, and he's an incredible guy and incredible,
phenomenal player.
Actually, well, I don't want to break his cover, but he's a true stick in real life. So he can play some golf. But he's a great brand ambassador. We have product on his website that you can purchase on his website, and some other strategic sites out there. As I told you earlier, we just got an order for from Dick's Sporting Goods, where they're going to do a launch in 6 different sporting goods stores around the country, and do a beta test on, see how sales go. And so
that's exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah. Then I just patented another marker that I'm doing with Squares golf shoes. It's actually a square OnPoint ball marker, and you'll see a launch out of Father's Day. We're going to do a joint venture launch with Squares golf shoes, and so we got some really fun things happening
with Bob.
Yep.
Bob just called me this morning.
Bob's the man.
Yeah, Bob's cool as hell. He's a good dude. He's really smart.
Yeah, great
smart
guy. Serial entrepreneur. Him and I hit it off right away, and one of our brand ambassadors, Nick Bradley, also is a brand ambassador for Squares golf shoes.
Yeah, and Bob just called me and left me a message this morning before we had our show, because we're buddies too. But he's good. He's smart. Really smart.
Tell him I said hello.
Well, I will. He's like, call me back. I'm like, all right. But I mean, it's pretty cool to see how much you've grown since I first met you. Like, and especially I mean, you guys didn't imagine this though too. Like, he's still running like a very large construction company. Like, this is not his full-time gig, obviously. And that's why it's like, he's a very, very busy man, and he still had time to invent this product, and he's been able to market it the way he has. So it's very inspiring, to hear these kinds of stories, especially with guys like Briston, because there's not a lot of them out there. It's kind of cool to hear that. So where can people find OnPoint then, if they're interested?
Yeah. So just go to our website, onpointgolf.us, and we're on Shopify. That's one means. The other method is through golf.com. Last year, we were voted one of the top 10 selling products on golf.com. So you can go on golf.com through Golf Magazine. So we have a share a sale affiliation with them. They really like our product. They featured us 3 times last year in Golf Magazine. So either golf.com or onpointgolf.us. You can go on there and you can look at our different SKUs that we have. And in the event that you want something to be customized, there's a link on the bottom of the website to my personal email, and I can help you customize the removable coin or the marker for your specific golf event, corporate charity, or corporate sponsorship, or you name it. So it's all there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show and being a good friend of mine for all these years. I really appreciate all the support you've given me and our friendship. And you guys got to check out OnPoint. It's the real deal. It really does work. You will lose strokes on your game. And thanks for being on the show.
All right, Paul. Good seeing you, man. Look forward to catching up next time I'm in Arizona.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Behind the Golf Brand Podcast.
You're going to beat me at golf?
Stay connected on and off the show by visiting golfersauthority.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
Golf is always more fun when you win.
Stay out of the beach and see you on the green.